Hello, welcome to Travel Talk Thursday. We're pleased this week to bring to you some information about Emma Waterways with Sandra Gardiner and our resident expert, my coworker, Marilyn Baird. Between all of us, we have, I think, probably been on all of the different routes that Emma Waterways offers and would like to share just in a conversation today about what that experience is like and some of the options and get the travel dreaming started for 2022. We know that a lot of people are anxious and want to get back to their travel experiences, and so do we. So we're just waiting for the time to be right and start filling your bucket with those bucket list trips that we know everybody has. So welcome, Sandra.
Hello.
Good to have you. And Marilyn, welcome to the Travel Talk Show.
Oh, thank you. Happy to be on it today, Lois.
So pleased to have you here. I know that you are a wealth of knowledge with river cruises, and I've had the experience of sailing with you in the past. And the clients that have accompanied you, some of mine, as well as lots of your own, have really enjoyed from your expertise and knowledge base with that experience. So looking forward to having a chat about the Emma River Cruise experience and get those dream travel experiences in the pipeline for everybody. So thank you to both of you for joining us. Sandra, maybe you can start us off and talk to us about a little bit about what's new, the current times, the stoppage in river cruising and where Emma Waterways is with that.
Absolutely. And I'm delighted to do that. It's interesting because Emma Waterways is actually the only US-based river cruise line that got to sail last year in 2020. And with that, we were able to implement all of our COVID protocols, put them into place, perfect them, if you will. And we really got to experience what it is like to cruise on the waterways, as we probably will when we start to cruise this year. So our staff and our guests on board, they were masked when in public places. We have barriers between each of the sections in the lounge. We carried a lower capacity of guests on board. We had in-room dining, so guests, if they wanted to have their breakfast or their lunch in their stateroom, they could certainly do so. And we're always a company who really clean a lot. And we even did this even more. I don't know how that's possible, but we did. And every single stateroom on our ship has fresh air systems. So it means that there's no such thing as recycled air on our river boats. And that was part of Rudy's architectural genius that he has. So we're really, really blessed that we got to implement these protocols. And now moving into 2021, we have suspended our cruises through to the end of March, and we'll make a decision next week whether or not we will suspend through the end of April. And we always wait till about 45 days out because our ships are all in the ready and we have crew that we can bring on board quite quickly, and we could get going if we're allowed to do so, if restrictions were softened or whatever the case may be. So we're really looking forward to 2021. Right now, our booking trends are showing that clients really want to come on board with us. Starting about August is where we're seeing a real pickup. And then 2022, let me tell you, you ladies have picked the best year ever to book some groups to go on the waterways. Of course, because we carry a low capacity of guests on board, we do fill up really quickly. And 2022 right now, we have the highest revenue of advanced sales in the history of the company. And the company's going on 19 years old. So Marilyn, you can probably attest to it. We do carry a small amount of guests, and we do have lots of nice, big, spacious staterooms and lots of facilities and amenities that you can enjoy, right?
Certainly, certainly.
Yeah. Marilyn, maybe you can tell us about, I know we have put together some groups between us for 2022. So you can just give a rundown of those and maybe we can talk then about them in particular and talk about some, I know you have some really great stories to share about some of the ports of call and experiences you've had on those itineraries in the past that I'm sure our listeners would love to hear. So just go over the list of groups.
Certainly. Well, I do have limited space left on a sailing on the Magna. Obviously, the Magna does the Danube, so that will be in November. A few cabins left on that sailing, and I have a sailing on the Rhine for March of 2022. Of course, March, is it's not shorts and t-shirt and bathing suit weather, but it's great weather to explore. I've done early sailings before, and I mean, weather's never a guarantee at all. What's quite fun about the early sailings is the ship is crisp. But as Sandra says, the ships are cleaned constantly, but I don't know, it's a crisp feeling, and the flowers are all coming out, and me not being a beach 100-degree weather person, it's really, I love the spring sailings because of everything so fresh and so new, and just a whole new start to our summer. We just get a little bit earlier. So it's that sailing, the early sailings price very, very well. There's great booking bonuses on until the end of March of this year. So the early ones are quite fun to look at if you're looking more for the cruise experience and exploring, and cooler weathers with exploring. You won't overheat, but some days it can surprise you how in the spring, the beautiful sunny days in the afternoons, and I've had early sailings before where clients have jumped into the pool after we're back from an excursion.
That's where the dressing in layers comes in, which is always a good idea in Europe anyway, but definitely on the early or very late sailings in the fall, I have found that to be a really good idea.
Exactly. And I'm looking at one for October, haven't finalized it yet, but October of 2022. So it's in the planning stages at this point.
And then there's the two that we're working on together. So
yes,
first one, we have a few guests booked on already. It's the Tulip Time on April 10th. And then we have space held on a Christmas markets for December 1st. So maybe Sandra can talk to us about those particular itineraries and what to expect and what the great features are.
Absolutely. And ladies, you have chosen like the creme de la creme of cruises, let me say. So to start it off, you have the Tulip Time cruise. And the Tulip Time cruise that you spoke about, April 10th to the 17th, you're talking prime time to be over in the Netherlands, because your flowers are now, they're out in bloom. Your tulips, when you go to Keukenhof, depending on the winter that they've had late this year into next spring, they'll either be up and just closed, or they might just be starting to open up ever so slightly. So absolute great time to be going and exploring, and not just Keukenhof, but everywhere in Amsterdam. When you're on the canal boat rides, for example, if you decide to do the canal boat tour, going underneath so many of those bridges that aren't layered with bicycles, you're going to see flowers everywhere, which is so pretty. And Marilyn alluded to the crispness of traveling in the spring. And it's interesting because our ships, of course, are all put away in the winter. They hibernate, and we bring them into service about mid-March. And it's in March, April that we start up in service. So over the winter months, of course, while they're hibernating, we're cleaning, we're doing any repairs, we're fixing up. If we're changing anything out, we're doing all of that work. So truly, it is a nice way to start the season on like a brand new ship, and away you go. Now the Tulip Time, I can tell you, because you start in Amsterdam. So getting there and getting home is very, very easy. You can extend your stay pre or post cruise and enjoy some extra time in Amsterdam. And for me, it is truly one of my most favorite cities. There's so much to do. Ships docked right in the heart of the center, so you can come, and if you want to stay early, do our pre-land program, or if you just want to come in and do your own hotel night and then make your way to the ship. Once you're there and your bags are taken away, you can go and explore and just have a really nice time. And beer, of course, is really popular. So you can go and grab a chair on one of the canals and enjoy a beer and a pastry and take in, people watch, see the millions of bicycles. Amsterdam, of course, being really well known to have more bicycles than it does cars.
I was going to say, isn't that the only city I've heard the statement that they have more bicycles than they have people?
Yes, that too. They have bicycle garages, like where you have a car park, probably the same size as a car park that we have here, but they actually are filled with bicycles. So it really is something to see, and I quite love it. Of course, once we do some wonderful tours in the area of Amsterdam, we start to cruise. And our first stop would have us, after doing a very scenic day of cruising, would take us through the Delta Works, which is a very, very sophisticated dam system. And it's going to bring us into Middelburg. And this would be where you get to go and do Keukenhof. And I know, Marilyn, I'm sure you can agree, it is just acres and acres of incredible flora. And you see so many beautiful things while you're there. So guests always enjoy the experience to Keukenhof. And I think, Marilyn, did you not say you took quite a few pictures when you were there too, right?
No, Lois did the Keukenhof.
Yeah.
Oh, pardon me. Sorry, Lois.
2 years ago. And yeah, the fields of flowers, like it's like walking through a huge park that has, everywhere you look, there's a different type or shape or color of tulip. It's amazing.
Exactly. And what's great too is that you can buy bulbs that are okay to bring home with you. I mean, they do come through customs and everything. So they do have, or they can ship them home for you as well. So if you're thinking about getting some tulips, there's so many varietals there that you can pick up, and you can definitely either bring home or ship home with you. So very, very exciting. And then moving forward, we will take our guests into the beautiful, extraordinary village of Ghent. And Ghent, you might remember, I'm trying to think of the movie, they did a Monuments Men, where one of the famous paintings was taken and hidden in one of the cathedrals right in the heart of Ghent. And we'll walk you through that cathedral. And Ghent is really, really well known as well for chocolate. So if there's anybody out there that's like me and loves chocolate, you will absolutely adore Ghent, because you can go in and you can make your own chocolate with one of the famous chocolatiers. Not only do you get to make your chocolate, but of course you get to eat your chocolate when you're done. So it makes it quite an.
And who doesn't like chocolate, right?
Exactly, exactly. And then of course, you have all that lovely chocolate in your belly, and maybe it's been right after lunch when you had some of the wonderful wines that we have on board, and or maybe it's just before lunch and you get to have the chocolate and then come back on board and experience some of the local wines that we serve when we're on board. And then from there, we're going to go on to Antwerp. And can either of you ladies guess what the famous, most wonderful thing about Antwerp is?
Girl's best friend.
You got that right.
Who doesn't like diamonds?
Exactly. Antwerp is the diamond capital. And while we're there, we can have a wonderful walking tour and a visit in a great cathedral that is there. There really is so much to see in this beautiful city. And again, everything is in walking distance from the ship. So if you're doing the walking tour, the biking experience, whatever the case may be, we take you right from the ship and away you go when we're in Antwerp. So it's nice.
That is one of the things that I really appreciated about a river cruise, is feeling like everything is taken care of from the moment you step on board until it's finished.
Absolutely.
All of those shore excursions, everything included, nothing to pay extra, but it's all arranged for you. You just got to pick up your little card that shows that you're off the ship and drop it off when you get back, and everything else has been taken care of.
Absolutely. And if when we were in Ghent, you didn't do the chocolate tour there, not to worry, because in Antwerp, you could join us and do our Belgian chocolate beer and waffle tasting. So we're all about culinary and culture and architecture and history. So really, it is truly an immersive experience. And one of the things that Alma Waterways prides ourselves on is the fact that we include every excursion that we do on shore. So you're not having to pay to do some of the experiences that other companies would otherwise have you paying for. So that's a huge, huge bonus. And then from there, we're going to go on to Rotterdam. Now, Lois, do you remember being in Rotterdam?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was a great day.
It is a good day. And when you're coming in, it's architecturally, it's a really interesting community. You come in, you're going to see ships, you're going to see barges, you're going to see a lot of different things in the port itself. It's a very, very popular destination. And when you get off the ship, if you're wandering around, just even in the close proximity, some of the architecture there is really amazing. They have buildings that look like they're leaning. There's so many different things to see, and it almost has a little bit of a pirate feel to it when you're in the port. So it's one of those areas that I always have enjoyed, of course. And then from there, we'll cruise on, and the next stop would be in Kinderdijk. Kinderdijk is incredible. Kinderdijk is home of all the windmills. And Shirley, Lois, did you have a windmill that stood out to you, or?
Yeah, a few actually. One I remember the excursion took us to see a number of different ones, and they were very interesting.
Yeah, and it's a UNESCO heritage site as well. So that's something that's really interesting in that it's been protected by UNESCO. So, it's not going to change. It's always going to be maintained and will always show itself with so, so much beauty. So then we come back to Amsterdam. And for those guests who are traveling on this itinerary in 2022 in April, we have a very special festival that's going to take place then. And the festival is called Floriade. Now, Floriade is the world's largest horticultural show. It happens every 10 years, usually somewhere in the Netherlands. And as it happens, it's going to be taking place just outside in Almere, just outside of Amsterdam. So this particular date affords all of our guests the opportunity to come and see Floriade. So something exceptional to look forward to as well. So now maybe we want to move on. And just before we do, though, I do want to say that the Rhine, the end of March, is a spectacular itinerary, Marilyn. I've done this one several times in the early spring and late fall. And just so our listeners are aware, it does warm up quite a bit better or faster or more quickly over in Europe than it does here. And the last time I did a Rhine cruise in April, I was actually in shorts and a t-shirt, and I did get a little bit of a sunburn on my arms.
And can vary a lot, can
yeah,
it?
Absolutely. And we had a lot of our guests that brought along their swimwear so that they could take advantage of the swimming pool up in the sun deck, because I got to say, nothing better than cruising through the Rhine Valley Gorge when you're sitting in our big swimming pool that's been heated to hot tub temperature, and you're sipping on some champagne as you go, or maybe you grabbed a bottle of wine when you were on shore and you've brought it back on board because we allow you to do that. Maybe you've uncorked that and you're enjoying that wine sitting in the pool or just up on the sun deck and enjoying the sights as you go.
So just to mention as well that Tulip Time cruise, because we've taken it out as a group, we are holding special rates, and there's some special group amenities there that if anybody's interested, they can reach out to either one of us afterwards, and we'd be happy to provide the flyer and any information they would like.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And then I think the next cruise that you had mentioned, Marilyn, was the Alma Magna. Yes. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Alma Magna, this is a one-of-a-kind riverboat that is on the Danube River over in Europe. And the thing that makes her so special is that she is twice as wide is a standard riverboat. She carries the same capacity of guests as our competitors do on a single wide ship. So 4 different restaurants, 6 different bars, many lounges that you can go to, a big gym, spa, hair salon. It is just an absolutely incredible ship to travel on. And we're having a lot of our guests that are booking right now are guests that were ocean going cruisers who have moved over now, and they're doing the Ama Magna because she does have some similarities or synergies to an ocean vessel. So I think, Marilyn, are you doing the Budapest to Vilshofen?
Yeah, we're doing the, yes, we're doing that direction on departing November 8th is the sailing date. And that's such a wonderful itinerary. It's just, starting in Budapest with the market and the castle, and it's just a stunning, historic, beautiful city. And then going along to Vienna, which again is so full of history and music, and on to Dürnstein, which is one of, it's a fascinating smaller town, and you can hike there. Wonderful place to take advantage of AMA Waterways free bicycles. It's beautiful, beautiful biking along the river there. So there's so many opportunities on that. And then into Linz and Passau, which are again 2 other beautiful places to stop, all very unique in their very own way.
Absolutely. And I don't know if our guests today were aware, but when you're in Linz, well, 2 things. First of all, let's back up. When you're in Dürnstein, Dürnstein is a protected area for its apricots.
Yes.
It has the finest apricots in the Wachau Valley. They are absolutely delicious. So if you really want to do a nice excursion that day, do the hike up to the castle fortress where King the Lionheart was kept captive. It's about a 35-minute walk up, and it's not too bad. There's one area that's a little bit tough, but the rest of it's fine. Once you're up there, the views of the Danube below are captivating.
Yes.
Then you come back down and you go into the village center. You can do apricot schnapps tasting. You can have some good wine. You can have apricot chutney or jellies on bread, and it's so good.
Chocolate covered apricots.
Yes, chocolate.
They use the whole. I think the story behind that is there was a time when the wine production was damaged, or had they were having a hard time with wine production. So the I think mostly the women on the farms decided to start selling apricot jam on the side of the road, and it just snowballed into a whole new industry. And it was just a temporary thing when the wine harvest wasn't good one year or a particular time. So it's kind of a unique little story.
Absolutely.
They pronounce it apricots.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I'm an East Coaster, so apricots, potato.
Right. That's right. Me too.
Yeah. And then, of course, in the stop in Linz, this is where we take our guests and we will do our Sound of Music tour of Salzburg. So something that's a favorite amongst everybody who goes, and promise you'll dance around the fountain that Julie Andrews danced around, and all the way back on the coach, you'll be singing every single Sound of Music song that you know. So,
yeah, that sticks with you for quite a while too.
Absolutely.
And then the drive from the ship to Salzburg is stunning anyway as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of a bonus excursion there.
Exactly. And then finally, we have the Christmas markets on the
I was waiting for you to get to the Christmas markets. They excite me.
I had to save this one for last. And I have to tell you that year after year after year, our Christmas market cruises, they sell like crazy. Everybody wants to do these. And what a great date. My goodness, you got the peak, December 1st to the 8th, because it's already Advent. All the markets are open, Germany and throughout. So great choice of date here. So this is a 7-night cruise that you've chosen from Basel up to Switzerland. And Basel in Switzerland, or pardon me, Basel, Switzerland up to Amsterdam. Now, Basel, Switzerland, this is where our European head office is. And I'm very familiar with Basel. Extraordinary town. It's very walkable. So if you're not doing a pre-land program with us and you're coming into Basel, you can take your bags right to the ship. We take them, and then please go and explore the village, the city center, or whatever you want to call it. Do it, because it is right there, so close by, and it is so beautiful. You can walk a path along the waterway and then go up some stairs, and you're right in the heart of Basel, the city itself. So we're going to start you there, and then we're going to start traveling in a northbound direction, and our first stop is going to be in a beautiful community called Breisach. Now, when you're in Breisach, we are going to take you to some Christmas markets. And by the way, in Basel, the markets will be open, so you'll be able to experience some of those even before we start cruising. So in Breisach, you're going to get an opportunity to make some choices of what it is you want to do that day. And I'm going to recommend one of my personal favorites, and that would be the village of Riquier in France. It's a little bit of a journey on a coach to get there, but it is a very small village. And this is the village where the fairy tale Beauty and the Beast came from. It was cultivated as a result of this village. So absolutely stunning. And they have their very own Christmas market. And when you come to the market, we're going to give you coupons to get in. And the coupon will take you to the first little booth where they're handing out Glühwein, the hot mulled wine. So you get to get your red or white Glühwein, and this is what's going to keep you warm when you're going through the markets. So something to note, every single Christmas market has its own distinct mug that you drink from. And as you're wandering through the markets with your mug full of the Glühwein, they will have strategically placed these cauldrons of the bubbling brew. And when they see that you have your mug from their market, they will fill you up automatically. So as you can imagine, if it's a little bit chilly and you drink a little bit fast, you get to fill up a little bit faster. And it's all done strategically so that you're never thirsty and you're always warm. And if you get a bit cool, you can always walk over to where they're roasting chestnuts on an open fire. True fact.
The smells and the sounds are what I remember most about my visits to the Christmas markets.
Mm-hmm.
So the cinnamon in the air and the roasting chestnuts and the Christmas music is just magical.
It is. Yeah, you can sit down at the bottom of the street going up, and there's a really nice bench around a tree, and you can sit and have your wine, and also they have beautiful macaroons there. And you walk along, and they're usually standing with the tray that you can sample them, but of course you do have to buy some too. You don't have to. It's good. And there's a very unique wine cave, or it's not a cave, but it's down underground. And I think it dates back to 1830. It's called the, I have it. Sorry, it's gone out of my head, but it's been in the same family for years and years and years. And it's just a great little hideaway to go down there and have try their wine, and because it is in the Alsace wine district. So it's bonus.
That's wonderful. And then, of course, we're going to cruise again. And our next stop is going to be in the beautiful city of Strasbourg. We're back in France here.
I love that place.
Mm-hmm.
Love Strasbourg. And you know, if you're feeling a little bit tired, this is the day, or rather the night before, where you get to go to bed. And if you want to sleep in, you can do our late risers tour, which would have you going into the heart of Strasbourg to Petit France. You would get off the coach there, and then we do a walk into the city center. And when you arrive, you have that beautiful cathedral in front of you. and we'll give you tickets rather, that you can go into the cathedral and you get to watch that astronomical clock when it chimes. We always try to time our tours so that we get our guests there and they can see the clock. Did any of you ladies see the clock when you were
Yes,
there?
yes.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. It is. Yes, yes.
Yeah. And we always work it so when we're in Strasbourg, we're there for a full day, sometimes overnight. And we'll take you back so you can have your lunch on the ship, or you can stay right in Strasbourg and find a nice little place to have lunch on your own. And we have shuttles that run back and forth in the afternoon so that you can go and you can wander the markets again after you've had your lunch on board. And if you want to do some shopping or just eat some of the treats, maybe some sauerkraut or bratwurst or whatever the case may be, then you can certainly enjoy some of the delicacies. And I think Strasbourg also was really, really well known for its gingerbread.
Yes.
And
another nice thing about Strasbourg is they have a lot of the Christmas markets are dotted throughout the city, and some of them they choose countries to represent certain squares where the markets are. So it's a very interesting, because it could be very typical to a certain country. So it's really quite fun I generally will stay in and have lunch in Strasbourg, because it's so much fun to explore the different squares that they have and the different markets. It's busy around the cathedral, but you can certainly explore and get to into a more unique area of the city and experience a particular country that's been sponsored that year for a market. So it's really it's lovely. It's a beautiful, it is an island. It's a beautiful place to explore.
Absolutely. And then the next stop from there, the ship will sail and we will dock in Ludwigshafen. And this is an interesting destination because when we dock the ship, you have some options here. So we can either take you to Heidelberg, which is a university town that has a castle fortress there, and you'll see one of the largest wine vats that they have, which is a wonderful experience. Or you can go to Rudesheim and do the wine tasting. Now, my heart, I have to say, is with Rudesheim. I love the small villages. I love the Christmas markets in Rudesheim, Siegfried's Mechanical Museum, the gondola that will take you up top a hill to the monument where you can overlook the Rhine River below. And you watch that gondola too, because when I was there doing the Christmas markets, Santa Claus was on the gondola. So
He is.
it's pretty special. So what do you remember about Heidelberg or Rudesheim, Marilyn?
Well, Heidelberg, both. I've been to both. In Heidelberg, I love going up to the palace, and you do have a choice that you can walk back down, and they have a absolutely fantastic shopping area after you go through the palace area. But from the palace, it's the most stunning views. And with Rudesheim, it's well, I have to say it's my favorite place to buy nutcrackers, because the Wolfhof, not pronouncing that correctly, store, they're everywhere, but there's a lovely store there right beside the entrance to the gondola. But they have the coffees, and they have very unique streets that you can, the very small romantic cobblestone streets that you can walk down and have your coffee, your Rudesheim coffee, which is a fun thing to have.
I'm glad you brought up the Rudesheimer coffee. And Lois, were you going to say something about
I would mention the shopping, and I know not everybody is a shopper, but even if you're not a shopper, there's so much to see, and just the whole feel of a place, like just to walk around in those little shopping districts. And just popping into these little stores, some of them, it's just the experience of it, whether you found anything or not. But I can say that Marilyn and I have always managed to find a few things.
Especially shoes.
Yeah. So there is that opportunity there, but it's not like a big mall, which somebody, if they're not interested in shopping, would be turned off by. It's everything. It's the culture. It's the little sidewalk cafes. Some of the things I've enjoyed the most on some of these excursions is when you get some time free. Yeah, you pop into the few little stores and maybe find a few treasures to bring home, some food items usually that you've enjoyed that you want to bring home and share. But then stopping at a little sidewalk cafe, and they have the heaters and things outside, or blankets on the chairs, and enjoying the delicacies that they have. Is just amazing experience.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's nice with the Christmas markets too, because so much of what they're offering are things that have been produced by the locals themselves. So it's all their
Right.
really unique wares and whatnot that you can bring home. So really is an extraordinary experience for sure. And then from there, we're going to take you and do one of the Alma Waterways exclusive experiences. So this is something that you can't do anywhere else but with us. And this is in Lahnstein. And Lahnstein has a castle. And I can tell you, I have been here in the daytime where I went up to the castle and we toured around the grounds. So you got to see everything there. And then we take you inside and we tour the interior of the castle. However, I like being there at night, and we do it at night as well. And I think you ladies both know why, because you're not touring the outside of the castle, but we take you all through the inside of the castle. And the castle is lit by
Candles, or is it candle? And it's spooky.
I think it's amazing. I thought it was super romantic. So
Yes.
great way to see it.
Yeah, it is very, again, a nice view from there too, but it's very interesting. The castle is.
Yeah. And we have like sometimes we have performers that are there that are playing music when we're going through. It really depends, but honestly, it's a highlight to be able to go through this castle at night with it all lit by candles. I think it's pretty special. And then of course, from there, we'll go up. The next city stop would be in Cologne. And Cologne, again, we dock right in the heart of the center. And you have some different opportunities here. Depending on the weather, like we do have biking experiences on this itinerary. If the weather is good and it's safe to take bicycles out, we will. We do have walking tours, of course, in Cologne, where you can go and you can see the factory where the cologne was actually made, see the cathedral, that sort of thing. Two things that are really special here. Number one is the cathedral. Cathedral, you'll see as soon as the ship comes in. It's spectacular. The markets are all around the front of the cathedral, so they're beautiful. And this cathedral houses the remains of the three wise men. So how fitting to do a Christmas cruise when you have the three wise men entombed right there with you. So I think that's kind of unique. And the other experience here that I think is really unique is we will take our guests into a German dinner house, if you want to call it that. It's a hall, a big hall where all the locals come, and we'll give you a taste of Germany in Cologne, taste of Cologne. And you will be served a flight of the different beers from the area, because Germany's really well known for Kolsch beer and some of the other beers. So you'll have a whole flight of beers to try. And we serve the beers up with pork knuckle and potato pancakes and all those culinary delights that are so authentic to this region. So I don't know what you would rather do, the cathedral or have a little culinary event.
Well, sometimes you can fit both in.
True. It's true. It's very true.
Yeah, you can.
And then we'll take you from there. We're going to go back to Amsterdam, and we'll have a little bit of an experience when we have you back there, a tasting tour and that sort of thing. Not the Betty Crocker type of tasting tour, but we will take you on a nice tasting around Amsterdam.
One thing to mention about the Christmas markets, as you do travel, I guess it's technically down the river from Basel to Amsterdam. I can never figure that out. I've always recommended that if there's an item that you see that you like, that you really want, buy it then, because they're all local, mostly local artisans. So it may not necessarily be at the next stop. So if there is something that's really pulling at you from the markets, do buy it then, because you may never see it again and you can't go back. Well, not unless you
Another
book another
time.
cruise.
Yeah, do another Christmas markets next year.
Right.
And I would say that the big thing that I have personally enjoyed and experienced on the river cruises, and the Christmas markets or the other ones, is no exception, it's just the way everything is included and packaged together. It does make it a truly relaxing experience while you're also on an adventure. And some
Correct.
people feel like to do an adventure, it's not, you can't have it all packaged where you don't have to, be a hunter and gatherer every day to find everything that you want to see, do, and enjoy. But this truly is that experience.
And it's not just the on-board experience or on shore, it's the on-board experience too,
Right.
because as you ladies know, with our Christmas markets, I mean, our cruises, our ships are even decorated for Christmas, the outside, the inside. We do caroling with the crew. We have a tree decorating competition. Santa Claus, every single Christmas market cruise, we have contracted, and Santa Claus comes and visits. So our crew get to determine if you've been naughty or nice, and you will have a gift left to you in a shoe outside your room the next day that denotes whether you've been naughty or you've been nice. So lots of fun stuff happening on board.
You'll have to go on a Christmas markets cruise to figure that out.
Exactly.
I guess I've always been nice. I've always gotten my treat in my shoe.
That's good.
Again, that is a great group. And it's for December of 2022, we're talking, not 2021. So lots of time to plan ahead and to ensure that, the current situation of safety and security and all that type of stuff is behind us, in our rear view mirror, hopefully, a long ways. But yeah, 2022 is certainly one that a lot of our listeners and our clients have hope and faith of moving forward with their travel plans. And we agree, having something to look forward to. I've booked something for myself for 2022. I intend to travel as soon as I can, but I want to have something that I can look forward to. So I think that's a common thread. So looking forward and being able to book while there's still space. That's what you mentioned about space filling up. And that's an important issue that people need to plan ahead for.
Absolutely. And I think planning a trip and knowing that you have something, no matter how far ahead, is almost as exciting right now as the trip itself. So, and again, 2022 for On the Waterways is selling like crazy. So I have no doubt in my mind we're going to have an extraordinary year in 2022.
Well, this has been a very educational session, and I know we've covered a lot. So if anybody got any questions or want to reach out to Marilyn or myself with any further details on any of the groups that we've talked about, we would love to help you out with that and get you booked before it's too late and the space is all gone. So without further ado, I'd like to thank you, Sandra, for sharing with us so much valuable information to my clients and Marilyn's clients. And thank you, Marilyn, for sharing your expertise as well. You're a very well-seasoned traveler, and I know you have lots of great clients who would enjoy and have enjoyed the river cruise experience with you. And also there are occasions where either Marilyn or myself or both of us have traveled with groups in the past. So if that's the kind of experience somebody is looking for, certainly reach out and we can put you on a list for that for when it comes up again.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks to both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Stay safe. Have a good day.